How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back using Fireball Rocketloons in Legends, and as you can see I'm currently sitting number 29 global with 2 defenses remaining, and as you can also see it's been very good defensively today. I was actually using a base that I built myself, so I'm very happy about the results. Yesterday, however, wasn't great, and I was using a different base, but honestly even getting 1 defense in High Legends is actually quite good, so nothing to complain about there. I do also post my legend bases here on YouTube in the memberships, so if you'd like to support the channel in return for my daily Legend League bases, feel free to check out the memberships. I'll have that linked in the pinned comments. And lastly, for anyone who is interested in my equipment setup for this army, here's the equipment. You can pause it and check out whatever is needed. So yeah, without any further ado, let's just dive right into the first attack. So first up we have Synthe, and for anyone who doesn't know who Synthe is, he's an esports player and he plays for Dizzy Esports, very good player obviously, and this time we get him in Legends and he's running this double rage base, and well, the plan is to go in from 12 o'clock from the top side and to try to aim the fireball onto the rage tower. So the rage tower actually gets a large chunk of the base down. Here I'm going to funnel the warden a little bit to the left side because I don't really want him to step up for that wizard tower, because that might just cause awkward pathing for the warden later on. I kind of want him to stick to the left side a little bit. Here I try to freeze the Royal Champion and the X-Bow, which I failed to do so, and well, the Headhunter was a little bit late, but all is good. I have set up the warden here, the jelly ran out, I can do a double invis fireball onto the rage tower here, and as you can see the clan castle goes down, and yeah, all the major defenses around that rage tower went down as well, so that's great. Sniping out the air defense on the right side just to make sure that the warden doesn't step up for it, because at this point I kind of want the warden to continue going down to the left side towards that monolith, and yeah, hopefully keep track of him. There isn't too much damage, however that spitter is very annoying, as you'll see at the moment. It's just, yeah, completely shredding my healers. But regardless, we start the Sui here. 2 healers going to go down from the warden, which is fine. We're going to invest a few Rocketloons into this monolith on the left side, simultaneously trying to use the wall breakers to wall break the king and queen into this town hall area. Unluckily we don't get the wall break or the earthquake boots into the next section, so my queen is going to have to beat her way through it. But here we send the RC from the opposite side to try to cover a little bit for the queen, who's going to shoot through and go into this scattershot compartment. Synthe had a ton of red mines at the bottom, so I was quite lucky to have gone from the top side rather than the bottom side, because yeah, if I went in from the bottom side, all my healers would have been cooked all at once. So kind of a lucky break here, but yeah, we get the triple, and let's move on to the next attack. Okay, so for the second attack we get Klaus, and well, looking at this base, it's a double rage base also, so the plan is quite similar. We're gonna aim to fireball the rage tower, which actually also gets the clan castle, so that's a very big plus. And so we start off with the warden at 6 o'clock, using a test rocket loon because I'm a little bit paranoid after that Synthe attack that I'm just gonna get completely baited with a ton of red mines. And well, okay, so the goal here is to try to path the warden towards that scatter shot potentially, or towards the air defense would be nice if he stopped around that area so that you could set up potentially a triple invis fireball. So that's the goal here. I'm going to have the warden path here, and he's going to stall a little bit on this royal champion, which is actually perfect because we kind of needed a little bit of time for him to stall. And he's set here, can do a triple invis potentially, almost. I tried to be greedy a little bit, but I recovered that. I tried to basically invis the air sweeper and the scatter shot. Had to be extra cautious not to accidentally invis the rage tower itself, so but all good. We get the fireball value here, and the warden actually goes left, which is actually perfect as well because there's just not that much damage there and he can pretty much chill out. So we start our siege barracks at 6, funneling the heroes into this Scottish, or what's it called, the multi-gear tower compartment. Also have to keep an eye out on the warden. But honestly, he can deal with the town hall just by himself. You don't really need to invest anything into him unless the healers step into the town hall range. So I'm kind of watching those for now. And they are getting hit, so I drop a freeze spell to preserve their health. And obviously trying to keep track of the Sui here. Unfortunately, yet again, the king ability got forced a little bit early, so my queen does not have access to the rage spell compartment. But no worries, we still have the RC with an extra rage, which I have not used on the queen obviously because she was banging on walls. So I decide to use the rage spell onto the royal champion, power through the final rage compartment, and yeah, yet again we get the triple. So next up we have a double poison base, and well, looking at this base, it has a lot of fireball value all around it, so the target isn't necessarily obvious. But what I opt to do is fireball this multi-arch tower beside the mono. And what that's going to do is basically it's going to take out obviously the monolith and the multi-inferno. And it's going to guide my warden into this royal champion compartment. So that's the plan here. I'm going to try to get the warden into this royal champion compartment and funnel him a little bit from 10 o'clock to try get him into this town hall range so that he can take out the town hall. Here I find a few Teslas, but all good. The fire spitter isn't going to go down, so I'm kind of forced to use an invis spell here, just because of those skelly traps that popped out. And yeah, perfect fireball, using one earthquake only because there were no structures there that needed two. Always good to save yourself an earthquake for your royal champion. And here just waiting for the warden to pick a side because I'm not quite sure if the funnel was enough for him to stay in that royal champion compartment. But looks all good here. I am going to send in a test balloon in order to test for some seeking air mines or potentially a red mine farm. As you can see, the warden is actually in the town hall range, so at this point I'm kind of forced to start the heroes anyway because it is 1 minute 30 and I don't want to be risking a time fail, so I have to multitask here. I invis the warden, and actually because I created a funnel at 10 o'clock, the warden steps in for the town hall to take it out. Here popping the king. Triple Rocketloons, you see, that's a pretty toxic one. Luckily my warden still had that rage around his healers, so timely poison actually keeps him up, which is great. Still have an invis, I'm going to pop that on the queen, and as I was saying, have the earthquake for the back end for the royal champion, and yeah, yet again a pretty clean triple. So next up we have Stars, and he's running this double invis base, which is a relatively old one, and I've hit it many times. I do use a log launcher for this one. And well, the basic idea is to fireball this CC compartment and have the warden pass either to the top side towards that queen compartment or to the bottom side, depending where you start the warden. So here I do, well, I scouted for a few Teslas and I sniped one Tesla and I invised the other. The invisibility on the warden actually protected him from a bit of damage, and it basically also invised the Tesla, so I could fireball the compartment directly. And well, now I'm just waiting for the warden to pick a side. He kind of stepped a little bit to the left side, which isn't ideal because he's going to be potentially in this monolith range, so I have to be very careful here. But for now he's fairly safe, and I'm going to start the hero dive by firstly establishing a funnel with a baby dragon. You will see exactly why. I want to keep the warden, or I want to keep the king inside that minion prince compartment. Here I use a log launcher to trigger the core invis, and my hero dive is basically going to be responsible for taking out the town hall, while the warden is going to be going around the base and just basically clearing all that stuff out at 2 o'clock side. Have to be careful here. I do rage up the warden just to be safe. Didn't necessarily need it, but better safe than sorry. Using another rage, this time on the Sui, to just get through this, get through the left side compartment, and yet again, dropping an invis on the queen, always a good investment. And yeah, you can see one of the clones. I even invis one of the clones, which, well, I guess she isn't going to get that much value because she's going to die off very quickly now, but doesn't really matter at this point. I could just send the RC for the town hall to clear that up, drop a poison on the RC just to be safe here, and yeah, we get a pretty convincing triple. So a relatively new style of base, and this one actually you can take in a couple of different ways. Like, you can fireball the builder hut next to the rage spell tower at 2 o'clock, or what I opt to do for this one is to fireball the X-bow near the poison spell tower. So starting the warden from 6 o'clock, I am going to snipe out this monolith, which, well, you would get the monolith if you fireballed the X-bow, but I decided to snipe it out just to alleviate the warden from that damage. Do get a partial CC pull, which is perfectly fine because I'm gonna fireball the CC anyways, so I can afford to use a poison spell to get rid of those witches. And those witches actually stole my warden a little bit, which is also great because I don't want him to be running off from defense to defense. And yeah, the jelly ran out. Doing a single invis fireball gets good value, honestly. And now my warden is just going to pick a side. Well, I actually funnel him towards the right side because mainly because of the fire spitter. As you can see, the fire spitter is going to be facing the opposite direction, so that's always nice. So once I've dealt with the minion prince and the warden is safe, starting with the siege barracks, just gonna start funneling the heroes and pushing them obviously into this lane at 7 o'clock, pushing all the way through, and well, I'll be trying to wall break the king into this ricochet compartment to kind of try to delay the ability as much as possible. Always something to look into. If you can delay the king ability, then you might as well. And yeah, obviously at the same time keeping an eye out on the warden, because actually he's in quite a bit of damage here, and he will be approaching this rage spell tower compartment as well, which my heroes got to first. And well, I drop an invis as usual on the queen clones to get a little bit more value. And yeah, just RC on the back end and just swarm with all the Rocketloons that are remaining. So a double poison base, and well, actually when I was seeing this base, I was quite unsure what I wanted to fireball. As you can see, there is no flame flinger value. The X-bows cover the base pretty much fully, and well, fireball isn't obvious, but I did spot that poison spell tower. And well, by fireballing the poison spell tower, you effectively get the fire spitter and the clan castle, which is one of the main targets that I aim for with the fireball if possible. So having identified that, I want to get the warden through all these major defenses. So I actually rage him up, and well, this is going to make my fireball a lot easier to pull off. I won't have to invest many invis spells. Well, in this case it will be just 2 invis spells and that's it. And yeah, as you see at this point, just dropping 2 invises just like so, with double quake on the clan castle. And yeah, now just waiting for the warden to pick a side. He goes to the bottom, so I set up a baby dragon at 12 o'clock to start setting up a funnel for the heroes. And with about, yeah, 2 minutes left on the clock, I mean, still more than enough time, obviously, for the heroes, but starting them now while the warden is fairly safe. Gonna try to wall break into this multi-gear tower compartment. I did send a baby dragon at the bottom to kind of help, or at 6 o'clock, to help the warden funnel a little bit quicker. And in the meantime, the king actually goes around, and what's quite annoying is you see he's just going for the enemy king at this point, just walking around and not stepping into this multi-gear tower compartment. And as soon as, yeah, the multi goes down, he would have walked, so I just pop his ability manually. And actually the warden is, well, he's taking quite a bit of damage, so I send the RC at the 7 o'clock section, and I actually funnel him into the town hall by doing that. So I alleviated a little bit of damage off of him, and I also funneled him into the town hall so he can grab the town hall, and yeah, the RC can just clean up the rest. So yet again, another double poison base, and this one actually looks like it's supposed to be a double rage base, but the guy opted for double poison. I'm not exactly sure why, but regardless, looking at the base, I wasn't too sure what to fireball here. Honestly, the multi inferno would have actually been a pretty good target. But in this case, I opted to go for the fire spitter. So keeping that in mind, I start setting up a bit of a funnel on this right hand side, just so that the warden has no pathing towards that right side, because, well, as I said, I'm aiming for the fire spitter, so I prefer if he stays in this area. Dealing with the RC, kind of waiting out the jelly here, if possible. Skellies are actually quite nice in this case because they stall up my warden a little bit, and well, I can keep my warden out of any sort of damage here. Simple single invis fireball is going to do the trick. I actually snipe out the multi-arch tower, which I didn't have to, obviously, because could have just invised it. But as you see, that sets up a really nice funnel for my warden, and he's going to continue going left, and what I'm just going to do is basically send a siege barracks from 3 o'clock and have my Sui going into this minion prince compartment. And, well, It might seem a bit risky because I'm leaving the town hall for the end, and I'm also leaving it, I guess, for the warden to take out, because by the time my heroes get to the town hall, yeah, obviously my warden would have reached it. So I have to keep an eye out on the warden here for sure, because he's going to be in charge of that, and he might also be in charge of the clan castle troops. So keeping up the warden is very important here, which is why I rage him up. I do get a CC pull, which, well, threw me off a little bit, I think, because I was paying attention to the Suri. But at this point I decide, because there's so much damage on the warden and I don't have any more rage spells for him, that I'm just gonna send a backup royal champion to kind of help him out. And, well, since I had one quake, that actually worked out very well, and as you see, yeah, again, a pretty clean triple.